Who is Randy?
Don't bring anyone mother into this.
Your mom in the fucking stand!
I wanted to ask you because when I first learned this about you. Oh, first of all, quick correction from when I was on your podcast last. I told you that I missed the GTS, the Cayman 718 GTS. And when I walked out, this is a very minor thing, but I tell a car guy, it was a 981.
This
is my little side note.
Oh, so it's a 6-cylinder GTS.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool, yeah.
And I miss it.
That's okay. I understand why you miss it. That's a very nice car.
I like that one a lot.
And I see how you could have mentally fucked up that number thing.
Yeah.
That
I was like, yeah, 718.
He thought I was driving a 4-cylinder.
He thought I was. But you, I found this fascinating, and you mentioned it when you first got here, which is that you worked at a exotic car rental place, and you learned a lot.
Yeah.
So my experience with exotic car rental is just driving by them for decades.
Hilarious.
And just being like, oh yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, it was like 3 years ago where I was like, oh, I'm going to go do that to fuck with my friend, Bert.
To say you bought one or something?
Exactly. So what happened was I was on tour. It was my first theater tour. We were doing Sober October where we're being sober and we're doing yoga. And so I thought he was going to be at the Comedy Store. So I brought this white Lamborghini convertible to the Comedy Store. Everybody's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And then I see Rogan there that night, and I was like, hey, I got this Lambo. And he was like, what? And I go, because tomorrow we're going to go do yoga. I go, I thought Bert was coming tonight. I want to just casually just be like, oh yeah, pick this thing up. So he was like, I'm in. Yeah. So then I'm pulling into yoga, and I see Joe calls me first. He goes, I think you're in front of me. I was like, really? He goes, well, it's a white Lamborghini. And I go, oh yeah, that's me. So we pull in. I go, so what happened when we're done with class? Like, let's all walk out together. And I told him to park near me, and I go, and we'll just be like, all right, I'll talk to you later. And I'll just open this thing and get in. And it worked like perfectly, right? And Bert was like, what the fuck is this? and at one point he was like, what's going on with you? And I was like, just fucking bought a car, man. And everybody was like, like Joe was like, oh, he's fucking balling. What's the big deal? And so, and I saw Bert spiraling, which is what I wanted. And then when I finally gave it up to him, he was like, I was looking at motorcycles. I was going to try to buy one. He's like, I felt like I wanted a treat.
Yeah.
You got a treat.
That's hilarious.
But what I didn't tell was that I went to this place and they have these exotics. I'd actually taken an orange, I forget if it was a Huracan or a Aventador. Something. And I don't know, a mile down the street, lights and things started going wrong. So I called the dude. I was like, yo, I just left and this shit's going. He's like, where are you? He goes, I'll bring you another one right now.
Yeah.
And we just swap cars.
That sounds right.
That sounds right.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, these cars, it's not even like, with Hertz, right? Or a big company. They got 10,000 cars, right?
Right.
Maybe there's 50 or 100 shitbag customers to rent these 10,000 cars, and the rest of the people are normal.
Right.
With these exotic car rentals, they got
them,
6 cars.
Yeah.
and everybody wants to see what they can do.
Everyone lights those things
and
up.
Everybody knows if this car just gets through today, then good night and good luck.
Can I ask you something about how this business works? Because I started to ask the guy.
It's extremely shady, yes.
Okay, I started to ask the guy.
Yes, it's very shady.
Who he
much
wasn't the
shadier
owner.
than you think.
Okay, but I was like, I started to go like, I was just doing like my very poor math in my head. And I was like, so you got like these Lamborghinis and you have the, whatever, the Aston Martins and I'm like, so I started to just ask him just out of curiosity. I was like, so like, isn't this like fucking $5 million in cars?
Yes.
And I'm paying, whatever, $800 to rent this thing for a day. And he was like, right. I'm like, so how does this how do you make money? I don't understand.
They make money a couple of ways. One, if you can, how you buy and how you sell the cars, right? So maybe if you're a rental place, maybe you're also a dealer. And so you could also make moves like that, right? Also, they might lease the cars. Believe it or not, they can lease the cars and then rent them to you. So they might not have to buy the cars. Also, they will really, really rake you over the coals if you damage one.
Like really?
They'll get you for loss of use. They'll get you for all. I mean, everything up and
So
down.
all of a sudden, your $800.
If you're
rental.
you don't want to break one if you're the customer. And I'm not talking about a mechanical problem like you were talking about. I'm talking about you don't want to crash one or scratch one or curb a wheel or whatever. There's a ton of profit in that kind of stuff.
Wow.
And it's also kind of a shady business. I mean, it's just generally
Here's the
a
thing.
shady business.
They certainly felt like shady people.
Yeah. And I mean, not a lot of people go into that business with good intentions and end up having to be kind of shady. The ones that are less shady are if you go to a company that's got like 100 C-class Mercedes and 3 Series BMWs and then 10 exotics.
Right.
Then the exotics are kind of a loss leader, and their volume cars are sort of these entry-level luxury cars, and they're really making their money renting C-classes for $150 a day, and and then they can
And
be
they're probably taking more care of those.
right, and then they don't have to rely on squeezing every dime out of the exotic car itself.
Right.
Yeah, but it's in general, it's a pretty grimy business.
When you were working at the exotic, and you say,
Yes.
did you have, like, when you left, did you have like a 5 or 3 or whatever that you were most impressed with?
The cars?
Time? Yes.
Yeah, by far the best car we ever had at the exotic car rental place was the '05 Ford GT. It was my favorite car we ever had. Nobody wanted to rent it because
it was a Ford.
because it was $2,000 a day and it was a Ford.
Yeah.
But I drove every car during that period, and that was by far the best driving car, by far, until it started raining. It was crashed like 4 or 5 times.
Really?
Yeah, because when it started, it had no stability control, no traction control, and customers would take it. This was in New Jersey where I was at the time, and customers, when it first started raining, they would smash it into telephone poles and walls,
Jesus.
all kinds of shit. Yeah,
So you guys made some money on them.
they did. They did. Yeah, they did.
We've paid for this thing a few times
I
over.
didn't see any of it, but
Yeah.
yeah, that thing did. I mean,
Anything else stand out to you in those days? Like that was great?
favorites. I mean, I was actually always really impressed. We had a Ferrari 360 that was, I can't prove it, but I swear it was a press car, and it was juiced to fucking high heaven.
Really?
It had a motor in it that I've never seen anything like it since. It was way faster. We had 3 or 4 360s. It was way faster than all the other ones, and it was way faster than the Challenge Stradales that our friends would bring around. Back in the day, we used to race these fucking cars on the highway all the time. It was like 04, 05, 06 was like the Wild West. You think it's crazy now?
Yeah.
Now it's more like financial crimes. Back then, it was like kids being fucking wild in these cars.
Wow.
Yeah. Like my friend Rob Ferretti owned the company, or was one of the owners of the company, and he also had a YouTube channel, and you would just go out and be like wild in the rental cars. It was
Wow.
crazy. Yeah.